Welcome to the session on exponentials and logarithms, exponential functions. The objectives for this session are to sketch graphs of y equals a to the power x and transformations of these graphs. Exponential functions are functions of the form f of x equals a to the power x, where a is a constant. Note that 3 to the power 0 equals 1, and, for example, 3 to the minus 2 equals 1 over 3 squared, which of course equals 1 over 9. Let's now take a look at some notation. This is x to the power y. X is the base, and y is the index, power, or exponent. Now let's take a look at an example. The values of y equals 3 to the power x are given in the following table. A graphical presentation of this is going to be shown here. So this is a point where x equals minus 3 and y equals 3 to the minus 3. Here, x equals minus 2 and y equals 3 to the power minus 2. Here, x equals minus 1 and y equals 3 to the power minus 1. Here, x equals 0 and y equals 3 to the power 0, which is of course equal to 1. When x equals 1, y equals 3 to the power 1. When x equals 2, y equals 3 to the power 2. When x equals 3, y equals 3 to the power 3. And so on. We can join these points to give us the graph shown on your screen. Notice that as x tends to infinity, 3 to the power x also tends to infinity. And as x tends to minus infinity, 3 to the power x tends to 0. The y-axis, or the line x equals 0, is an asymptote. Let's now take a look at another example. Pause the video and have a go. Press play when you're ready to view the solutions. So let's solve example 2a first. We are required to sketch the graphs of y equals 5 to the power x, y equals 3 to the power x, and y equals 2 to the power x on the same graph. So let's do this. Here's y equals 5 to the power x. And here's y equals 3 to the power x. And here is y equals 2 to the power x. Notice that 5 to the power 0 equals 3 to the power 0 equals 2 to the power 0 equals 1. And also notice that when x is greater than 0, 5 to the power x is greater than 3 to the power x, and that is greater than 2 to the power x. And on the other side, when x is less than 0, 5 to the power x is less than 3 to the power x is less than 2 to the power x. And when a is greater than 1, f of x equals a to the power x is an increasing function. For a greater than 1, as x tends to infinity, a to the power x also tends to infinity. And for a greater than 1, as x tends to minus infinity, a to the power x tends to 0. Now let's have a go at part B. We are required to sketch the graphs of y equals 1 over 3 to the power x and y equals 3 to the power x on another set of axes. So let's solve this. Here's the graph of y equals 1 over 3 to the power x. Notice that when 0 is less than a is less than 1, f of x equals a to the power x is a decreasing function. And as x tends to infinity, a to the power x tends to 0. Also, as x tends to minus infinity, a to the power x tends to infinity. And here's the graph of y equals 3 to the power x. The graph of y equals a third to the power x is a reflection in the y-axis of the graph y equals 3 to the power x. Now let's have a go at another example. We are required to sketch the graph of y equals a third to the power x minus 2 and give the coordinates of the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. Pause the video and have a go. Press play when you're ready to view the solutions. So let's solve this. We're going to sketch the graphs of y equals a third to the power x and y equals a third to the power x minus 2 and see how the two relate to each other. So here's y equals a third to the power x. And here's y equals a third to the power x minus 2. When x equals 0, y equals a third to the power minus 2, which equals 3 squared, which equals 9. For the first graph, when x equals 0, y was equal to 1. However, the corresponding point for x equals 0 is here. This is a translation of 2, 0. In fact, the graph y equals a third to the power x minus 2 is a translation of 2, 0 of the graph of y equals a third to the power x. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to sketch graphs of y equals a to the power x and transformations of these graphs. Thank you very much for listening. To understand this topic in greater depth, do attempt the exercises in your textbook related to this topic.